One day I was at work and I text Tony and I said, hey, what if I were to bring home a puppy? And she was pretty stoked about it, to say the least. She's like, OMG, what kind of dog? And I was like, the puppy kind. And she's like, I hate you. But from right then, she knew that she was getting a puppy that day. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
I've seen you around for a long, long time. I really remember when you drank my wine. Why can't we be friends? Why can't
And I called her and I was talking to her right after work and I was like, yeah, so what if I really did bring home a puppy? She's like, well, it depends on what kind, and you can't go look without me. But by this time I was already at the pound and I was already looking with my best friend, and we were looking at all these great dogs that weren't gonna work. And my wife found our dog Leia. She called me and she's like, hey, I found this like super cute dog. Should I get it? And I was like, well, send me some pictures. So she sent me a couple pictures, and let's be honest, it is the cutest thing I've ever seen, and there was no way she couldn't get our dog.
When I first found out they were bringing a dog, it was a phone call from the Humane Society.
They called to find out if we could have a dog in the house. Actually, when they first called, they called my cell phone and I didn't know who it was, so I ignored it. And handed the phone over to my husband, and he answered the phone, and they asked him if they would allow, or if we would allow Tony and Ellen to bring a dog into the house. And
They said, we understand Alan and Tony are living with you and they'd like to adopt a puppy. How do you feel about that?
I think we were put on the spot a little bit, and we didn't really know what to say, and so we did say yes, we would allow them to bring the dog home. And then after we got off the phone, our first initial reaction was a little bit of,
I was a little frustrated that we hadn't talked about it and wasn't quite sure what they were thinking they were doing.
we both kind of looked at each other and said, we wish they would have talked to us about that before they decided to do that. But we were okay with it. It was just it just took getting used to the idea before we were okay with it.
When I first found out that they were bringing Leia home, I asked to see a picture. I thought she was like the cutest dog I've ever seen. And then she got here, and she was just as cute as her picture was.
Before Tony got home with the dog, I was about ready to pee my pants. And I was walking all over the house, just pacing everywhere. And I was pretty excited to have a dog. So my wife got home with our dog, and before she even pulled into the driveway, I was out the door pulling our dog out of the car. And I was in love with her right then and there.
AJ and Tony chose the name Leia because AJ is a huge Star Wars nerd.
My whole life is just so much better with her. You can say that it's like when Luke met Han Solo in Star Wars Episode 4. They were instantly best friends. If I were to describe Leia in one word, that word would be stinker.
A monster.
She gets into everything.
Unique.
She has the most smelly farts I have ever experienced in my entire life.
Lazy.
Lazy is far from what she is. She gets into anything and everything, and I can't even count on my hands how many times Tony has lost a sock to our dog.
I think the funniest thing about Leia is how she loves the heater vents. It's really funny to watch her come into a room and she'll go straight for the heater vent.
Why can't we be friends? 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 Why can't we be friends?
We decided that we wanted a puppy because they just fill that void in your heart that you can't have filled by anything else. They're man's best friend for a reason, and we wanted to have a best friend together. But I'm not gonna kiss my dog. And Luke shouldn't have kissed his sister. And we're pretty much dog people. We kind of hate cats. a lot. Sorry for all you cat lovers out there, but